This is the Oakwyn Podcast, featuring Morgan Browne and Michael Uy.
Welcome to the Oakwyn Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Uy.
And I'm Morgan Browne.
And I'm the podfather.
This cat's looking at me.
There's a cat looking at us. I think Kitty wants to join us. We're drinking some brews here on a afternoon.
Brought to you by Happiness Beer by Superflex.
Oh, cheers, guys. Cheers.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Clink.
Close enough, yeah.
This is a special podcast.
This is a podcast of special people.
So they're all special, but this one especially.
Yeah. Morgan brought the pretzels and the beer, which is...
They're flat pretzels. Anyone that knows these are addicting, these things.
Flat pretzels.
Ugh.
Pretzels on my snack list is very low, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
They don't crack the top 10.
Okay, what's your top 3 snacks?
Number 1 by a country mile is popcorn. Celery sticks. No, I'm just kidding. Number 1, popcorn.
Yeah, popcorn's like Sean,
Popcorn
too.
is like, you can't...
Ginger ale and popcorn for Sean.
Ginger ale?
He loves ginger ale popcorn.
Really?
And he eats, like, I'm not joking you, a bowl a night. Like a big bowl. I'm like, that's not good for your body.
Popcorn. Like microwave popcorn, or is he popping it on the stove?
What are they called? Chickadee pop.
Yeah, chicken
boom.
Yeah.
Pop.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, the sea salt
good.
one. Yeah, it's kind of,
good stuff.
that's okay. Because it's mostly air, right?
Yeah.
I don't feel like corn is good for your body.
Why?
I don't know. There's something about it. Like in Europe, they only feed corn to pigs.
Huh.
You married a pig. You married another one.
Top 2. What's 2?
Okay, so I like kettle chips. They have to be kettle chips.
Wait, is it the
For the
kettle
crunch?
brand, like Vicky's
No.
kettle chips?
Yeah, like they have to be like kettle cooked chips, potato chips.
Okay, kettle cooked potato chips.
Okay, and 3, this is gonna come out of left field, corn nuts.
Wow, that is...
He's really into corn.
I'm a pig.
Wait a minute. Have we established this?
Well, how about yours? What's your top 3?
Where do you go?
Okay. I'm kind of scared to do this because you guys are just going to
There's
rip
a lot
on
of judgment.
me.
There's a lot of snack judgment. This is snack shaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, I mean, at the risk of getting ripped on, I would say...
Top 1. Number 1 snack. Like,
That's a lot of pressure. Probably nachos, to be honest.
Yeah.
Nachos are so
woo!
good. Yeah.
It's
just, are you just gonna eat pretzels
like
this whole
Doritos or like that whole like the platter.
I mean
Get it away from me. These are so addicting.
the platter, but if you want to take it up a notch and really feel bad about yourself, have to make a platter of nachos with Doritos.
Oh,
And
the
then-
Arlene thing.
And then
She
melt
likes all
some,
that shit.
melt some cheese whiz to dip it in. Yeah. That's like my ultimate like drunk snack.
Yeah, that's like, I need this.
I wake
Yeah.
up in the morning and see the remnants of that, and I'm like, oh, man.
That's another good one. What's your number 1 drunk snack? That. Is it nachos?
It's gotta be, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mine's kimchi bone noodle.
Oh, that's a lot healthier
So
than
bad.
mine.
Yeah.
No. Okay, number 2, 3. You have 3 snack choices.
I'd say popcorn's definitely on there as well.
Popcorn.
Obvious.
Mhm.
And then probably fries.
Yeah,
I
French
thought you were
fries.
gonna say fruit. Probably.
This isn't a podcast of lies, Michael. We're honest on this podcast.
Oh my god. So funny.
Okay, Morgan. Pretzels. What's number 2?
Okay, so number 1, I think pretzels. For
Pretzels
sure.
is number 1?
Pretzels number 1. I eat pretzels.
You think pretzels is number 1?
Pretzels
are up
are
there. They're
up
probably-
Really?
there
Yeah.
for
Are
me.
they in your top 5?
They're
Top 5, I would
salty.
say, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
not
They're
even top
salty.
10.
Yeah, the salt.
I think chips, like
Whoa.
in general, chips, like anything to do with, like, you know.
What kind of chips though? Because
Like all dressed.
all
love all
dressed.
dressed.
All dressed is for people that can't make decisions.
Just give me every flavor.
Yeah, just say, throw it all in.
So good. And like my girlfriends and I always laugh because
Anyone
when we
that
were
eats
kids,
all dressed likes buffets. She's like, give me
I
one
love
of
a good
everything.
buffet. I love a good buffet. I'm Filipino, man.
Exactly.
We are all about the buffet. I mean, Yeah, I mean, well, I think that's my number one snack. I'm also just not really a snacky. I think I'm more of like a chocolate person. I eat chocolate and sweets quite often. It's
That can be a
terrible.
snack.
Like cookies and croissants. Mike knows it. Bagels, croissants, chocolate. I'm like that person.
Yeah, we used to do breakfast and she would always get these like giant stacks of pancakes. And I was like, I'm just thinking about my blood
British.
sugar.
And the British in me, right?
And I'm just like,
The Scottish
get more
and
powdered
British.
sugar on these things. I was like, oh, my
Whipped
stomach
cream.
hurts.
That's like the number one. Popcorn's up there though, because Sean, just because of my husband, because he just like shoves it in this big bowl of. He literally yesterday he ate
Does he
two bowls.
Does he like hand grab or does he
No,
eat
he's
them
a-
one at a time?
No, he hand grabs.
Oh, so he like stuffs.
Yeah, and nachos
you
is
gotta
really
get it.
high on my list.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I were to go to any restaurant, it's like we always, my husband and I always go to like nachos. It's always like number one
Yeah.
to us.
Mm.
And tacos. Tacos and
Tacos,
nachos.
yeah.
Tacos and nachos.
You really can't go wrong.
Okay.
Is nachos it's not like legit Mexican food. It's like
Nachos?
not
Not
no.
really.
I don't think
It's
so.
kind of like a Tex-Mex US thing,
Actually,
right?
Yeah.
chips and salsa are really high on my list, actually. Chips and salsa. And you don't want to get, you know what the number one combo for chips and salsa is? The chips from Whole Foods that are like made there. There's like
Okay.
a big bag you get, and it's actually like $6.
That they fry up
They
tortillas
fry up
to make.
there.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Yeah.
It's so good. And then they have the Lost Margarita. You guys know Lost Margarita and Kits.
Yeah.
Their salsa is the only salsa that they actually sell it. Well, they sell a bunch, but like that's actually local.
Really?
And it's the only place to get it. It's the best salsa ever. It's just these pretzels are making
You know, I don't want to brag about salsa here,
what?
but I make a pretty mean salsa.
Dude,
Yeah.
that sounded terrible.
That salsa's angry.
How do you make? Do you blend it?
No, I chop
Oh,
it.
you chop.
Yeah, I
Oh,
chop
so
it.
you're kind of, what is
Yeah.
it called? What are they called? What's it when it's like
Slice
just chopped?
and dice. What?
No, it's called like
Slap
a
chop?
pinto gnola. What is it called?
You love my nuts.
Pinto, what is it called?
Yeah, but I actually I don't cook very well at all, but there's something that I can make. It's
Pico
salsa.
de gallo.
Gallo? Yeah.
Is that what it's
That's
called
what it's
when
called.
you chop
It's
your-
like chopped.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
I
kind
like
of
chopped-
fresh. Yeah,
chopped
I like it.
salsas, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Do you
all.
put jalapenos in it?
Oh yeah. Well,
Or do you
we put
keep the seeds? Whoa.
yeah.
The cat.
We put like green chilies in it. Yeah, so it's
You're lucky that I love cats. I
Yeah.
love cats. I
See?
actually wish
She's
I
a
had a
cat
cat.
person. See?
What? It's funny. I haven't had a cat for years.
Kitty. I'm going to get him out of here.
Morgan's wrestling with a cat right now, people. I'm gonna announce this wrestling match. Kitty is doing her special move on Morgan, and it's working.
This cat is going to get out of here.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to pull you down before you scratch me. I actually have like,
Morgan has like a scratch on her face and a hole in her shirt.
I actually love cats,
Yeah.
but I haven't had a cat for 15, I think it's 16 years since Sean, because he's highly allergic.
Oh yeah.
And now I don't know how to hold them. It's like awkward for me with cats.
Holding
Really?
the cat?
Because I haven't had, like, I've always grown up with cats. I've always had I used to have litters of cats in Southlands.
Mhm.
And now I'm like weird with them. It's really, I got to figure that out.
Yeah,
Gotta
I
figure
never
it out.
grew up with cats, so I never knew how to hold them.
Mhm.
And number one rule my wife taught me:
What?
you got to tuck the tail up, so you're not just putting your hand on their butthole.
Yeah, that's the only sense of
That's other than that, there's no rules.
There's
Really.
really no rules. You can flop them and flip them around.
Yeah, exactly.
I love cats, though. They're so great. I can't wait to maybe actually get a cat for our new house.
Well, you said your husband's
Yeah.
deathly allergic
Are
to
you
cats.
trying
and
to-
why are you?
I think it's like he told me one time that what is it? When they had, was the swine flu?
Yeah.
He told me he had swine flu. It's such a lie. I mean, I'm like, you
does
don't
like
have
corn.
swine flu. I don't know if he like is allergic because he grew up with cats.
That's
I think it's just like gone. So he needs to like I think you can get past a lot of your allergies if you just put them in your face. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think that there is some like exposure part of it. So yeah, like so for
Desensitization,
example, like kids are allergic to peanuts. Like if you like microdose them with peanuts, like they kind of
Yeah, microdose.
supposedly start kind of building the enzymes or whatever to break them down. And yeah.
I just gave peanut butter to Lennon
And?
yesterday. So fine. Okay. She's good to go.
It's not the
Isn't that did that scare you at all?
You know, once you realize that your child is not going to die at any moment, I think it's the second child, you're like, oh, whatever.
yeah.
I have one to replace them.
Yeah.
That's what I had too.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get like
Backup
less
plan.
sensitive to that. But I think you're like, you're like, okay. But you
Well-
also just want to know right away because the faster you put it in their mouth, like, and figure it out, the better.
Yeah.
So that you can just like
Just a small amount.
tiny
right?
bits.
Yeah.
So we just did one yesterday, one today, and she seems like she loves it. So it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, we're like doing we're like starting to introduce some certain stuff, and it's hilarious.
It's so fun. And she's
Yeah.
like, you know?
Yeah, she's like
Bleh.
reacting. I gave her like a little
Orange?
drop of orange, like an orange slice that I was having, and then she was just like, "What the heck is this?"
The best is when so Lenny just got 2 teeth up here.
Oh, really?
Wow.
And 2 here. So she got 2 here, which is really weird. And her teeth are exactly like mine as a kid. Like I had a massive gap between my teeth. She's gonna have this massive gap.
Oh,
between her
really?
teeth. It's just like exactly the same. And she's like teething like a mother. Like she's always. So we have this little like, which I got for Quinn, but he never used it, and now she's like obsessed with it. But basically, it's like you put the fruit in it, and then they just like suck on it.
Oh yeah, like
Do
a
you have that?
frozen.
Yeah, like a frozen thing. So
Okay.
Yeah.
I puree all my puree all of my like apples and
Okay.
butter squash and all that stuff, and I put them in ice cubes,
Uh-huh.
and then I freeze them, and then I chop them and put them in there so that they teeth on it. It's
Oh,
great.
okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
little tip, Mike.
Little mom tip.
Morgan
for you.
is 1 month. Yeah, I think it's Lenny's 1 month
2
older. Right?
months.
2 months older.
I think so.
So I'm Soph's June 12th, and yours is April
27.
27th. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple
They're
months.
a couple months. They're they're gonna be like, I can't wait till I see them like running around together.
Yeah, it's gonna be
It's gonna
fun.
be
And
so
we're gonna be
cute.
like, we're gonna be so close too.
Because like
Sean
a
and I
month.
are planning on hitting the
links.
Yeah, we're going to go to McCleary. It's
I
just
know.
right there.
Like I think Sophie's just gonna like live at my house. I feel like that in my life. I do. I feel like
I
it.
would like Soph to have some influence from you, though. Okay, I'm going
Really?
to tell you exactly what.
Okay, what? Okay, well there you go.
And you better do
I'm
it.
gonna be feeding her pretzels.
Yeah, only popcorn. So like,
I'm eating pretzels, guys.
yeah, like you have like an optimism, like a very good optimistic outlook, right? And so, which I think is very refreshing, to
Aw.
yeah, with a lot of people. So I would love for you to like have you just be yourself, obviously, but then like have that optimism, and also you have like a lot of faith in yourself and your own abilities.
Only way
Right?
to be.
And you don't doubt yourself as much as a lot of other, some people do.
A lot of other owners of Oakwyn.
A lot of other guys that like corn nuts.
I know exactly what I want Quinn to learn from you.
Okay.
Money. I'm like, I want to make sure Quinn goes to Uncle Mike. I said this to Sean. He's like, what about me? I'm like, no, Michael's gonna. And work ethic. Michael like gets up even when he doesn't need to get up. He just goes. That's a very important thing to have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we
It's
gotta
like,
build
get
up some
up.
trauma.
We gotta get some trauma.
They're like, you're not good enough.
yeah, let's get it.
I'm trying
I'm
to
gonna
find.
scare the shit out of him. Ha! Like, oh, it can happen at any moment. You always be prepared. Like, okay, I'll wake up early.
So Mike's curiosity is so contagious when he's curious about something.
Mhm.
Like I'm trying to put Quinn into this outdoor school right
Cool.
now in
Which one?
Southlands.
Okay.
And it's like Southlands. It's 80% outdoor.
Is that
and
the Pacific
20%.
Spirit one?
It's called Southlands Heritage School.
Oh, okay.
And it's
okay.
really hard to get into. And they have to wear these outfits that they're like arteric outfits, but they're from Poland
Okay. Why
Like-
do they have to wear weird uniforms?
because they're outside like all the time. Like they're in
Okay.
this like
So they're like in
they're in the field
outdoor-
foraging and
Oh,
stuff.
Okay, yeah.
And they're all about like learning species, and it's so Quinn. Like he's all about curiosity.
I feel like the classroom setting,
yeah,
personally, the educational system now,
yeah.
those of
No,
you that teach, like it's kind of, it's really for the industrial age, like it's really like closed in,
Yeah.
sit here, do the same task over and over again, lecture style, sit here type of
Totally.
thing.
Totally.
And I don't think that really applies to
All children.
a lot of some
children
kids
do.
are gonna like
Love it.
thrive in that environment. I certainly did not thrive in that environment. So like
But do you think that kind of gave you, because you didn't thrive in that in that environment, it gave you the ability to be like so, like to overcome things faster than other people? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, because you're just, being able to just, a lot of people are like, oh, you didn't do well in this. And because you've had that since a young age, like you obviously talk about it, you're a little bit more able to kind of like be a little bit more flexible.
A bit more resilient.
Resilient
Yeah.
is the word, yeah.
I think, if I was to like reverse engineer life, I would have probably done a school like you're about to,
Trying to put him in?
like an experiential
Yeah.
kind of style of learning, more outdoor activity, more physical activity. Because I was fairly sedentary when I was a kid.
Yes.
Like I wasn't a part of sports teams and like, besides just kind of like hanging out in my yard, like I wasn't really kind of out there.
Which you're so are. Like you really like to be outside.
Yeah. And I think that I would have really benefited from like, like outdoor learning environments, like going to museums and stuff like that. So like I probably would have like kind of benefited from that. But I do agree with you. I think, people are shaped equally by their good experiences than they are their bad experiences.
Totally. Yeah.
And as long as you kind of look at the optimistic outcome of each of those instances, like you can form your own reality, right? Which is what's really awesome about, and Braden and I talked about this in one of our, like when you were gone,
Yeah.
on one of the pods, like, you got to shape your own environment. You got to like you're running your own ship, specifically being an entrepreneur. There's so much freedom and joy. And I can't imagine, like, it's actually hard for me to think about working for someone else ever again.
I know.
Can you imagine that?
Imagine. I've never imagined that since I was so young. Well, my dad, I've never been able to. I could never work for anybody else. I could never.
Yeah.
I just have like a problem
Yeah.
because I think that it's. I really believe that everyone is like their own artist of their life, and they have a purpose in their life. I'm really into right now, like Michael Bernard Beckman. Do you guys know who that is? He's a doctor. He's all about like, he actually brought like a church together, everyone from different faiths. And it's basically makes it a communal space to really just manifest their lives and their purposes. And that's where I think that everybody has a purpose. I think everyone has a purpose.
I like this premise of artist of your life. So like, like expand on that.
So I truly believe that, like if I were to tell Soph, like, I mean, even my kids, like I'm going to tell them, like, you have a choice on what you do and how people react to you, how people around you, who you surround yourself with. You have your own way to look through that lens. Like it can be a blue world, it can be a purple world. It's a different, really it's all about how you see your everyday, right? So you're choosing it. It's you. It's no one else. It's like, so don't let anyone take that away from you, right? Don't let anybody take away that it's your choice. So if I woke up and I could say to myself, okay, I'm going to put myself in a place where in like a negative thing. Well, why did this happen to me? Why am I put in this situation? I can put myself down in this negative way.
Okay.
Or I can choose to put myself and saying, what is the purpose of this? What is the key thing that I should take away from this? What is the greater meaning? I think that really is a huge, if you can work for a greater purpose than other than just for everyone else, but for yourself.
So what's an example of that for you?
Even this house, like this is a perfect thing for me. I was like, why is this happening now? Like for the last 2 years, I've been rattled. Like I need to move, I need to leave, I need to get out of here. And I've been just really pushing like, I need this, I need that. And for some reason within this first like 1 week, it just came together. And I think for me, I could have asked myself, well, that should have, I could have said, well, that could have happened like 6 months prior. Or it could have been 2 years prior. But instead I said, okay, why did this happen to me now? To be on this block, to be where I am. And
so why did it happen?
It was because I was at a place where I could take it. I could take it in. I was welcoming that. I had that opportunity there all the time, but I wasn't ready for it. And so I think it allows me to think bigger with this house. Like for some reason, like for some weird, strange reason, I'm like, okay, it's a new chapter. It's going to make me feel bigger and I'm going to think bigger. I'm going to be bigger. I'm going to be a better person. I'm going to be a better friend. I'm going to be a better spouse. And that's,
I got a list for you.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, you just choose your lens, right? You really choose, you're the artist of how you perceive things. And the best way of being that person is just being your authentic self and checking in with yourself.
Yeah. You know, I think because in being your friend for so long,
Sorry.
yeah, you should apologize. Like, I think that is those things, you know, like kind of like the scale of life changing in essence. But then I feel like you've attached so much value to your own environment, your home environment specifically.
Yes.
And like we've gone through so many things obviously together and everything like that. But like, I think this is like you're settled and it's time to like do other things, which, you know, which is really exciting. Like you're settled. This is where you're going to stay and it's time to do other things because you've been, you know, when I first met Morgan, I think you didn't even like have your waterfront, like she had a cool waterfront condo, but she got that and then moved to the house and then kind of like had the kids, got married.
I came with no kids.
Yeah. Lots of like, you know, lots of changes, right?
Yeah.
But then this is kind of like, okay, this is done. Now it's time to do something more, which is that's kind of what I thought of. You know,
it's also like I've always known in myself, which I've talked in podcasts before, that I'm here to do really big things, like for other people. I actually carry this in my book. Actually, it's very funny, and I was telling my
what is
team, it's my purpose. I actually wrote it when I was like 25. And I carry that. Look at this.
Okay, can I read that? Let me read that. Okay, I'm going to read that.
Oh my gosh.
Morgan's purpose to do what Michael Uy said. I'm kidding.
What do I carry?
Whoa.
I carry this picture of Mike and Arlena now.
I'm just kidding.
And I have like that. And I carry my purpose and I carry my like feng shui percentage.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fun. But one of my purpose, I carry
it is your purpose. I was just joking.
Yeah, I mean, the purpose is like, but I think it's very, like what I'm telling everybody right now and on my team and for everyone, it's, you got to get clear. You got to get clear with your life right now. Like everybody needs to figure out, like, don't wonder when things are going to happen for you. Don't think things are happening to you. Get clear on what you want to do and what you need to do and what you really aspire to do. And then when those things get emotional and get like a little bit challenging, ask yourself, why are you getting like that? You know, like work through it.
Why is that important?
It's super important because I think everyone, like I said, the artist of your life, I think it's important to live your fullest life.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all we have, guys, like this one, you know? So for me, a family is really important. Having great relationships is really important. Building something is really important. And being a great, you know, parent, being a great parent is really important, right?
So how do you get clear? Obviously you write, but
writing is super important. I think what we were talking about with Jenny, it's like being able to talk to other people. And, you know, I called Mike before we got here and I was like, we should do like a goal setting thing. I sometimes have to just talk it out to you and then go back and like work it out myself. And, I think it's also just taking a quick second and just like listening to yourself, right?
Yeah, you know, I think that's really prolific actually to get clear because things are, you know, for some people and in their experience, it's really foggy, or they're not very clear on the things that specifically they want to achieve along in their journey in their life and what they want to do, right? And having that like clear understanding of it, and then you can start kind of working your way towards it. So
yeah,
like,
and you can
even,
be more adaptable because of it.
Yeah, even this house, I like you've like it's funny like before you even got this house, I remember you talking about like, your life and growing up and
Southlands, which is kind of where I'm going. Yeah,
so
which is
like,
crazy.
Yeah, so in that kind of neighborhood and and it's just it is a full circle type of thing, which is kind of cool, right?
Yeah, I think it's a full circle, and it's also leaning into this is a great way of segueing.
Sure.
But just like what I think the market's going to do, right? It's also that. So we're seeing like Vancouver West and East. Vancouver East is very expensive where we bought, which is in East Van Fraser, Maine.
Yeah.
And what's going to be the difference about moving to the West Side and where the West Side right now, what I saw was less kids were in schools there, and it was easy to get into schools in the West Side, but it was super hard to get into the East Side. Like you couldn't even get your children in.
Really?
It was awful. I was like, you can't even get your kid in. You're in a wait list for 2 years. So I was like, okay, this doesn't seem very... No wonder people are driving across to this other side. And also to note that Vancouver East and West are starting to become equally... Like there's not so much of a border anymore. It's really just now starting to spread out.
Yeah.
And
actually, there's
realizing
there's more demand in East Van than there is in West Side Vancouver.
That's
like,
right.
When we sell homes in West Side, there's not the same amount of demand that you do for East Van. And so, looking at from a value perspective, if you look at lot sizes, house sizes, and you kind of break those down into per square foot pricing, you're like, hey, you know what? I'm getting double the size lot for marginally a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm getting double size house for marginally a little bit more. Like, okay, it's not double the lot, and it's not double the price.
Yeah.
Obviously, as we kind of...
And obviously people are moving towards community because that's what East Van has to offer. It's fantastic. And there's lots more shops and that kind of stuff. But then for some people that, don't mind that kind of transit, being able to kind of go to different places, it doesn't make much of a difference. So I'm starting to see people really move back to that area because they're talking about what you're saying. There's a little bit more, it's not much of a difference, right? In per square foot. And people just start seeing a little bit more of that community. So you're starting to see communities build again. So you just have to be really aware of what is happening.
Yeah.
Not just like housing prices, but what people are moving.
Yeah. And, sometimes it's not advisable to kind of like, if something is super popular, there's a reason why, obviously, because it is, it has the demand. But looking at some things that maybe aren't in the highest demand. So for example, like, we just take your...
$4 to 6 million or 7 million is very slow right now if you look at it.
Yeah, so it's
very slow.
Yeah, so obviously not everyone can afford that, but...
but I'm just saying, but even like 2 to 3
But you
million,
really climbed the property ladder though, like you've done it the hard way, yeah.
Like 2 to 3 million, like Dunbar right now is just like, it's the same price as what you're going to buy in Fraser, right?
Yeah.
It's exactly the same. Like you're looking at the exact same price
Yeah,
points.
because they're all 33.
Really?
Yeah, they're
Yes.
like 33 lots. They're pretty similar.
Dunbar to Fraser.
Yeah.
It's
Crazy.
super weird.
Yeah.
So seeing that is very interesting. What I'm West Side, you're going to start seeing a lot of multifamily homes coming in again. Like
Yeah, a lot of townhouses are happening.
starting to happen.
And, yeah, more
because
like,
they want affordability, but then there's not as many amenities, right? So like
the retail is really in East Van. That's what I find.
Retail.
Like the
Yeah.
retail
Yeah,
is like the
exactly.
good retail, good coffee,
Totally.
good
Yeah.
beer.
Yeah.
Good everything.
Is East Van. And so
Yeah.
like that's just what I find. And
Yeah.
so like West Side doesn't really have
Any of that.
but it does have
Good schools.
and
Yeah.
good schools, but also like, it has
Privacy.
a little bit larger lot sizes and stuff like that. So it's just like finding out when the right appropriate time is to do that is something to kind of consider.
Yeah. What I've just noticed is from people that couldn't afford the West Side, they'd go to West Vancouver or North Vancouver, and now they're all coming back because they can.
Yeah. I've advised a lot of my clients to buy West Side residences,
Me too.
actually. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, if they're moving from a townhouse, they're like, oh, let's buy an East Van house. I'm like, if we stretch another,
200,
300,000, we could get into a starter home in
West Side.
in West Side Vancouver, and the lot is going to be potentially larger than what you're going to get in East Van. So price per square foot makes a little bit more sense. So I've actually directed quite a number of clients.
Are you
to do that.
finding, so leading into 2022, do you think that the West Side, because personally, I think the West Side will, as people are coming back.
Yeah. So when immigration,
Happens?
comes back, so obviously because of COVID, immigration has kind of stopped. The local market obviously is driven towards like good retail, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the foreign market is good schools, lot sizes, like,
Yeah.
they
Big
have different
homes.
big homes. They
Yeah.
have a bit of a different perspective on things. So I do think that there is an opportunity in the West Side. But that being said, it is very, very challenging to be able to, to build the equity to be able to, to buy these properties. I'm not saying that, but it is, I think presenting the option to clients is something that's wise to do. So for example, I had a client that was thinking about, selling their investment property, their townhouse, and then buying something in East Van.
Yeah.
And we kind of did the calculation and made it make sense. And they bought a house in Dunbar instead.
Beautiful.
And it wasn't that far off of what we were going to buy on Main Street, like
Yeah.
for them. So like it wasn't very far off. So
Same with that. I had a client that they bought in Grandview. I was like, okay, well, let's go ahead and like they ended up they were going to tear it down eventually. And that was their plan. They were like both working professional. One's an artist. She's fantastic. Anyways, they ended up, I said to call them, I said, let's just sell your place. It's like, I can get you a couple $100,000 on that. You've built the equity in it. Let's sell. So we sold the property for a nice lift. And now I'm moving them to Kits. And it's like a totally different thing for them to move forward. And I don't think everyone's going to have their own thing. Some people are going to want to stay east.
yeah, some people
And some
just
are gonna
love the
wanna go
community
west.
there.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. The
Yeah.
point is that they always wanted to live in West, like always they wanted to live in Kits. So I was like, oh, okay, we can do it now.
Yeah.
But before we couldn't even have that opportunity because
Yeah.
we couldn't even get there.
Right.
Right. So they're really excited because they're going to be closer to her art studio and all that kind of stuff,
Cool.
which is cool.
Well, we can talk about next year.
Yeah,
Like,
let's talk
we'll
about
just
next
roll
year.
into it.
Yeah.
So like, so Morgan, crystal ball stuff. So why don't you tell us about the landscape first, like landscape of 2021 or 2022?
What do you mean the
first.
landscape?
Yeah,
you
set it up.
you
Kind of
tell
like-
us the landscape.
Set it up. Okay, well, just so economically right now in our market in Vancouver and BC and in Canada,
Okay.
obviously 10-year highs for pricing.
Okay.
Is that going to kind of
Current
continue? Is that
landscape.
kind of going to continue? Interest rates are very, very low. Prime rates at in the mid twos, but people are obviously getting mortgages in the mid ones for mortgages and
Mid-ones.
stuff like that in many
Crazy.
cases, which is very low interest rates. But inflation. So the value of our currency, the value of the Canadian dollar is getting devalued. Obviously, with the federal debt that is being built up, they're printing more money, so the value of money is going to come down. So how does that affect us in our market and what we predict is going to happen? Now, before we kind of dig into our predictions, we're going to make a disclaimer.
Okay. Okay.
So obviously we aren't like making any firm claims on what's going to be happening in the future, and don't rely on our data and our conversation. You can rely on my corn nut conversation,
Right?
like that for sure is a top 3 snack. Like that you can set in stone. But like our kind of our prognostications and stuff like that obviously don't rely on them, and you're going to have your own as well, but it's a fun topic to kind of discuss. So what's going to happen in 2022, Morgan Browne?
I think it'll be rising prices, low demand. I think we're going to see like 2022, you'll see a little bit more of developers going more west as the B line is going to, the line, what's it called? The
Broadway
Broadway
line?
line
Yeah.
is going to take effect. Mike and I were just walking on Broadway. I was like, whoa, this is happening?
Yeah.
Like right
It
now?
is really happening.
Yeah, it's going down.
It's going down.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a game changer, I think, for people.
So transit-oriented
transit.
properties.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen. I think we're going to see, not as vigorous price change. Like obviously what we just went through, which was basically like a quarter, like 17, 20% up. I don't think we're going to see that, but I'm going to see like 10 by the end of the year.
10 is amazing.
High.
Yeah, it's high.
I just think that we just have very low demand. Low supply. I think there's so much demand out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people are going to be leaving the city.
So there's going to be an exodus.
Yeah.
Where are they going to go?
Kelowna.
Yeah.
I think they're going to go to Kelowna. I think they're going to go to the island. Oh my God, they're going to go to the island. Like Nanaimo.
Nanaimo, yeah.
Oh.
It's gonna
They're
blow
going to
up.
go to Nanaimo. It's going to blow up. I think that's one thing I should.
Do you think the periphery?
regret.
Do you think the periphery
remember?
markets are going to rise?
Sia,
Yeah.
she told Mike and I to buy some stuff there.
Yeah, and we're like,
Oh yeah, no, maybe. And then we're like, we should have bought something there.
well, yeah. I think hindsight's 2020. You should have bought something everywhere, anytime, right? So,
Yeah.
so that's
He's
your
got a
prediction.
point.
So you're tempered this year. You're not as like.
I was all about like this year, and I think I was correct.
Yeah, you were correct. You were like, this is going to be a crazy
Crazy
market,
year.
10-year highs. And I was like,
Yeah.
Morgan.
I think our agents, like our realtors, are going to be really busy with their clients. Like I think it'll be the same volume, don't you?
You think it'll be the same volume? I do not think it's just going to be
I don't
the
think- I
same
think it's gonna
volume
be hard.
because we've had 10-year highs in volume and transactions.
the interest rate's going up, Mike? Though.
Yeah, and that's that.
So come
that
on.
is my
prediction.
driving prediction. I feel that our local market is driven strictly on low interest rates.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
Bank of Canada is going to basically dictate the activity rates and also the pricing of the market. I think more so
Yeah.
the activity than the pricing. I actually predict the pricing to go up, but I think it's going to go up in slightly higher than inflation rate proportion. So like if inflation is at 4.6%, which I think is
Yeah.
what they're kind of talking about.
6 or 7.
Yeah, 6. Yeah,
Maybe
so
6
I
or
would
7.
think the market might rise potentially in proportion to that or potentially a little bit higher than that because
I think
obviously
about 8 to 10%. Do you think? Like with what you're talking about?
yeah.
So here we're gonna call it. You're gonna say 6 to 7. You're gonna say 8 to 10.
Yeah,
We'll see
okay.
next year.
Yeah, so
Oh,
like, we'll
no.
see. So okay, yeah, so I'm gonna call the percentage change cross market. Okay, I do think that detached will have a bit of a higher increase than the attached market because more supply is entering. Like I look at the number of completed projects that are happening next year. I'm like, oh, okay, well, like there's more supply entering the market. So, but I do not think it'll be as active. So I think.
I hope we don't have like a slow market.
Well, I
Oh
think it's going to be
my
based on
gosh.
interest
Do
rates.
you remember when we first started?
In 2006 or 2007,
Yeah.
2008?
Do you remember how slow that was? I don't think people understand what a slow market looks like.
Yeah, I remember.
It was brutal.
We were looking through
6
some old.
months, no sales.
Yeah.
White suit.
White suit,
Yeah.
6 months, right
Yeah.
here, guys.
We were looking at. We're just pulling. Like I was just cleaning my attic, and I had all my old files in the
Yeah.
attic, and I was looking at stuff. I remember. I was talking to Jill on my team, and she was like, "We would hold 25 listings and sell half of them, and not sell the other half." Like in
Yeah.
some, in
They
some
would just
markets,
expire.
they would
What,
just be
what
like
year was that?
2008. Yeah.
2008.
Yeah. So like, in many cases they were just not moving, and we were pricing them sharp, and then we were just chasing markets down. And obviously, I wasn't an experienced realtor; I didn't know how to price, kind of, with market values changing. So, yeah. So
Cheap price is cheap, guys. He just sold my house.
That was a euphemism right there, if I ever heard.
But do you feel like I think people are still banking on our like market to produce like a high, I mean, a lot of people are just still thinking of it as an investment.
I still feel that it would qualify as a low risk investment because it's a fixed supply and it has a cash flow ability and stuff like that if you buy a rental property or even detached property. So I'm still like I will probably look at investing more.
I was
going to
ask you, what are you investing in next year, Mike?
Mhm.
What is it?
Well, like we've talked.
yeah.
So like. I am trying to build family wealth, so I think that the safest route to do that is in multifamily properties, so old wood frame or maybe concrete.
In Vancouver?
In Vancouver and periphery areas that have good rental demand. So I'm looking at transit-oriented properties. I've looking at the Broadway line and being connected to transit-oriented areas and having some proximity to those is something that I'm seeing a lot of value in. So yeah, and just kind of doing what we do well, which is to identify properties that we could improve and get better at, because
Growth areas.
Morgan and I invest together. So
Yes.
Morgan loves renovating and kind of can see these things, and I'm more of the finance person. So like,
Yeah.
so we have a good team to kind of look at that. So that's what I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was kind of rewinding 10 years ago, I'd still buy good rental condos, and I'll still probably buy 1 or 2 rental condos next year.
I think Kelowna and those offshoot places are
Yeah.
going to be
That's why you keep sending me those listings.
I know.
Like, Mike, we should buy this.
There's a place.
It's on the water.
It has a power. No, what is it called? It's got like a puffy slide. Anyways, whatever. I'm like, Mike. But Arlene and I are like, oh my gosh, we should buy this for the family. But I think that like I've been watching, because there's a couple incredible Facebook pages that I'm on, and there's like cash flow kind of Vancouver, or like cash flow Canada.
It's hard to cash flow in Vancouver.
But no, cash flow Canada. So like Prince George,
I'm not as bullish. Calgary, if oil prices go where they're supposed to go, then it's good to buy in this market now, because you're buying before the oil. Because I feel like
like 1.85, and they're cash flowing.
Well, the Alberta market is tied strictly to oil and gas.
Yeah,
it's tied like strictly to oil and gas. When
no one wants to live there. They should.
In early 2000s, when the Alberta market was just like insane. Like I had friends and some family there. I was just like, what the heck is going on over there?
I don't think I could ever live in a place that wasn't near water. I just realized that right now. I always feel so like when I go to like a desert or something, I feel like trapped.
Yeah.
Buying a above ground pool.
That's why everybody in Palm Springs has a pool.
That's right. Everyone in Palm
Springs
Springs
has to be above ground so that you can
above ground.
Because digging costs money.
It's actually hard to find. My friend is building a pool in their backyard.
Oh, really?
And it's fully packed for next year because they think it's going to be another heat dome.
Okay, so
they think Vancouver's going to be another heat dome in June. So get aircon. Did you get aircon?
In my house?
You don't need it. Your house is like flowy. He lives on a very nice lot, guys, just so you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm jealous of his big lot.
I have a fan and not a mechanical fan. Yeah, exactly. And a block of ice. And then I just fan it around.
You
my
have
family.
a Peloton. He has a fan bike.
Yeah, exactly. I pedal the bike and my family enjoys the air circulation.
He has a Peloton too.
I do have a Peloton
Yes.
now. I am a Pelo dad.
Hello, Dad.
Yeah.
Nice.
Pello Dad.
Yeah, there's hashtag Pelo Dad.
I love that.
Okay, but so those are our predictions
Those
for
are
next year,
predictions, guys.
guys. So hope you enjoyed that podcast. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please rate us 5 out of 5 on the podcast platform you're listening to it on. And if you want to learn more about Oakwyn, what are we going to do?
You're going to go to www.oakwyn.com/join, and you're going to put in that message box, Oakwyn 2021. This is the last
Pod
one.
2021.
Wait
Pod
a minute.
2021.
Pod 2021, and you will get a free piece of mystery.
This is the last Pod 2021, guys. Put it in.
I don't know. Yes, it
is.
may or may not be. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, okay, guys. Till next time.
Till next time.
We'll see you
Bye-bye.
later. Bye.